guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock and it's time for a 5x5. If you've never seen a 5x5 before, it's one of my favourite videos of the week. The idea is I talk about 5 different subjects. I give myself 5 minutes to talk about each subject. There is a timer at the bottom of the screen. When the timer reaches 0, we move on to the next subject. It is quick, it is snappy, you never know what you're going to get. And I'm going to start off today by talking about a routine that I do in almost every Zoom show that absolutely kills. I highlighted on this channel a few weeks ago a book that you guys should read called Michael Kaminskis' Miracle Material, and it's one of the routines out of that book. Let's have a look at it right now. Right, so let's talk about Miracle Material by Michael Kaminskis. A few weeks ago on 5x5, I did a book review of Miracle Material. Now, if you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. Miracle Material is one of my favourite books. I remember Mark Mason from JB Magic. He's the guy that turned me onto this. It was after the Blackpool Magic Convention many, many years ago. And I went into the shop and I went, hey, what's new? And he said, you've got to check this book out. And literally, that book kind of almost changed my life in a way. Because I was doing very, I don't want to say generic close-up magic, but I was doing stuff that kind of everybody does. And when I read that book, everything changed. I realized that you could be so much more creative with close-up magic. Anyway, there is a routine in there that is absolutely brilliant, and it flies under so many people's radars, and it is as good now as it was all those years ago. I wanted to highlight this routine to you because it is brilliant for a Zoom show, especially for kids or family entertainers. Now, you don't just have to be someone who's doing kid shows, but you can also be somebody who's doing family shows. You know those Zoom shows that you do where you're performing to a family audience and there's kids there, so you don't want to do stuff that's just specifically for adults, but for adults and kids. It's perfect for that. Now, this is also something that works just as well over face-to-face, live. In fact, for many, many years, when I did restaurants, this was my restaurant trick. This was my favourite opener at a restaurant, and it is an amazing opener. I wanted to highlight it to you and kind of show you the routine and tell you how I do it in a family show. So I bring out a packet of Skittles. And I say, hey, you know what? I'm talking to all of the kids here on this Zoom call right now. Do you ever try to sneak food from the kitchen when your mom and dad aren't looking? Because I used to do that as a kid. What I used to do, I used to sneak down in the middle of the night into the kitchen. I used to open up the fridge, find something to eat it, and then put it back. And then the next day I would deny doing that completely. I remember my unfinest hour was eating an entire cheesecake to myself one day. It's terrible, I'm such a pig. Anyway, that whole thing changed for me when I learned how to do magic, because when you learn how to do magic, you can take food without people realizing it, and they won't even know. Let me show you what I mean. So I've got these Skittles right here, and I want to show you what you do as a magician. Look, what you'd do is you'd sneak down and you'd open up your Skittles. Let me just put that there for a minute. You then take some out, right? So you take some out, and we just eat these. Now, you take your piece, and you do that, and you can actually seal that back up again. And we have a full packet of Skittles completely sealed up. Boom. Talk about an amazing trick. I'm not going to be able to talk now because I've got a mouthful of Skittles. I should have thought this through, but I'm fine. I'm going to keep going. Thank you, Sarah. She's doing this behind the camera. You've got 2 minutes left. I've got a mouthful of Skittles, darling, okay? I'm struggling here right now. I should have thought this through. No. Bear with me, I'm almost there. I am with them. So, I love this routine for so many different reasons. First of all, it's got a great hook line. If you're a kids entertainer, half the battle is having a hook line, getting the kids interested. Pulling out a silk handkerchief and saying, look, I've got a trick with a hanky. Nobody cares. But you start doing something like this, and hey, let me tell you about how I used to take food without people realizing it. Let me show you what you can do with magic. Kids immediately, they kind of think, oh, that's a brilliant idea. It's something they buy into. But also, as a visual, this works for adults, this works for kids, this works for anybody. It is incredible, the visual of just taking a piece off a Skittles packet, pouring it out, eating it, and then resealing the bag. It's amazing. It's way better than any torn restore card. So I love the hook line. I love how visual it is, and it is super visual. It works for adults, it works for kids. Now, outside of Zoom shows, when we're not in the middle of an apocalypse and things go back to normal, this is a great opener. If you're a restaurant magician and you do magic in restaurants, this is a great opening routine. And it really is. It absolutely kills. It's also the sort of thing that you can carry around and you can do anytime, anywhere. If you have some Skittles in your pocket and you have the gimmick ready, there is a gimmick, you could be good to go anytime, anywhere. Yeah, you know, out and about. Let me show you something. Here, let me do this. Boom. It's absolutely brilliant. So you can learn it from Miracle Material by Michael Kaminskas. I've started doing it, as I say, for a while now in my Zoom shows, and it always gets a great reaction because it is different. It's different to any other type of magic trick out there. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. I'd advise you to get the book anyway, but this routine is super awesome. Have you seen it before? If you have, let me know what you think of it in the comments. Do you do this routine? And if you do you love it as much as I do? Check it out. It's called the Skittles trick, and you can learn it from Miracle Material by Michael Kaminskas. Right, guys, let's talk about coin magic. A lot of people ask me about coin magic all the time, and I think one of the reasons is everyone knows I'm a coin guy. I love coin magic, and one of the questions I get on this channel over and over again is, how can I get into coin magic? What do I need to do to get into coin magic? And what I want to do on a 5x5 coming up soon is I want to do a 5x5 coin magic special where I kind of maybe highlight 5 routines that you can learn, and the 5 routines that I would suggest you learn first if you want to be a coin magician. And what I want to do in this segment very, very quickly is I want to talk to you about the one reason. I've spoken to lots of magicians. I've lectured all over the UK and you know, many places all over the world, and I've spoken to people about why they don't do coin magic. And normally it's one of 2 reasons. The first reason is people are scared of palming. People are scared of holding things secretly in their hand. And that kind of makes sense because the thing with coin magic is generally you have to hold something secretly in your hand, which is why card magic is more popular, because there's instant gratification. With card magic, you can learn a self-working trick and you can be doing it straight away. But you know what? A lot of people shy away from palming with cards because you get magician's guilt. What's magician's guilt? It's that whole idea of feeling guilty that you've got something in your hand, so you telegraph it. You're scared of being caught, right? It's why a lot of people don't do palming in playing in card magic, and it's why a lot of people get into cards first, because with coin magic, even the simplest trick you have to palm. Say something like a gimmicked coin. You have to palm the gimmick in, you have to switch, you have to palm it out. There are exceptions, like something like very, very basic coin unique, or you know, a Scotch and soda type routine, but generally as a rule you need to palm. So a lot of people are scared of palming, and secondly, a lot of people don't want to start doing coin magic until they learn the classic palm. So here's what I want to say to you about that. Forget about the classic palm. Yes, it's really important to have a good classic palm. However, at the beginning, what you want to get good at is you want to just get good at performing coin magic. And I see so many people going, well, you know what? I'm going to start performing coin magic, but I want to get my classic palm perfect first of all. I'm going to start performing coin magic, but I want to make sure I've got a perfect classic palm. Well, you know what? I didn't have a perfect classic palm when I started learning coin magic, and a lot of coin magicians don't. I would suggest learning routines that just use a finger palm. There are so many routines that just use a finger palm. Let's say, for example, 3-fly. 3-fly does not use a classic palm at all. The whole idea of having 3 coins at the tips of the fingers and making them jump from one hand to the other, that all just uses finger palm. On this channel, I performed a routine by Jeff Latter a little while ago, a 3-coin trick by Jeff Latter. That doesn't use classic palm. There are so many routines that don't use classic palm, and finger palm is so easy to do. If you put a coin here and curl your fingers in, you can do finger palm. Ryland was finger palming a coin at 2 years old. He was finger palming a coin before he could even speak. So if Ryland could do it at 2 years old, then I'm sure you guys won't have a problem learning a finger palm. If you can do that and curl your fingers in, that is finger palm. And if you can't do that, seriously, take up flower arranging, take up stamp collecting, take up anything other than magic. Because seriously, if you can't bend your fingers in, you're in trouble. It's as simple as that. So don't worry about classic palm. Don't make that the holy grail. Yeah, you can aspire to learn classic palm, but for my opinion, the 2 best palms you can learn straight away are finger palm and thumb palm. And again, thumb palm is very easy. Put a coin there, put your thumb against it, you can do thumb palm. But one of my favorite sequences uses just thumb palm. Watch the coin. I'm going to put it into my hand. I'm just going to wave my hand over, have the coin disappear. I'm just going to wave my hand over, and I'm going to have it come back. That's the steel is Vernon, I believe, and the coin coming back is Vernon, and it's just a thumb palm. Okay, one of the best coins across is just uses thumb palm. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's like 4 coins here, 4 coins here. It just uses thumb palm. So don't let the fact that you can't classic palm a coin be an excuse as to why you shouldn't do coin magic. Because I'm telling you right now, and I mean this genuinely, coin magic will make you a better magician. When you start doing coin magic and you get away from feeling guilty holding stuff in your hands, well, all of a sudden it starts opening up other avenues. Now you can do stuff with pens and eggs, and you'll be palming all the time, and you'll be able to, you won't have magician's guilt, so you'll be able to do card magic and palm a card and it won't be a problem. And there's so many more avenues it opens up for you. So I will be doing a coin magic special on 5x5 coming up soon, but this video is just a very simple message to say to you, don't be scared. Don't be scared of coin magic. Forget about classic palm. Learn a thumb palm, learn a finger palm, and then just go out there and do it. Okay, so I want to talk to you about Dave Jones now. Now, regular viewers of this channel will know that I've banged on about Dave Jones for a while. He's, in my opinion, created the best reverse matrix using no gimmicks and no gaffs anyone has ever seen. Anyway, so Dave Jones is absolutely awesome. And I've interviewed him for this channel, and the interview is going to be going up very, very soon on Talk Magic. But I wanted to give you guys a sneak preview. And one thing that Dave was very, very keen to talk about was magic competitions. And he's won a lot of competitions himself, some of the most prestigious close-up magic competitions ever. And he talked about what it takes to win a magic competition, and more importantly, what you should never do if you're going to be entering a competition. Dave is very outspoken, so please bear that in mind. He's almost as outspoken as me. But have a look at this. I think a lot of people will find it very useful. A sneak peek at the Dave Jones interview.
Get on with it is the basic. I mean, I've not competed at that sort of level. Matt Wright's excellent, I'm fair play, to do as well as he did at FISM. That's a real achievement, so that's great. Good on him. But I mean, if you're going to win, let's get this down to local magic club level. Right, okay, don't set your sights on winning major competitions. Just try and win your local club. And the number one fault, and you alluded to it just there, is just they don't get on with it. There was one I'll come out with it. I hate mentalism. Right? I hate it. I think it's deadly dull. I think, and most people get in. I don't know why young kids getting into mentalism, because and there again is the old fart in me coming out. The one accepted truism about mentalism when I was young is you can't really do mentalism until you look as though you've got a few years on the clock. You mentalism, if you want to make it mysterious and spooky and that, you got to look as though you've been reading books bound in human skin in some monastery in Tibet for years. This thing, I know you like the tats, but some kid with his cap on back to front and some tattoos, it doesn't convince me that he's a master of the mystic arts, to be honest. Doctor Strange, throwing lightning bolts and all this sort of stuff. That's how I see a mentalist, But there was one mentalist we were watching, and bearing in mind, they all get the rules beforehand, and the rules might say you get 12 minutes, and after that you start getting deducted. I'm timing what you were there. I was timing one mentalist, and by the time he'd sorted out his stall, he'd introduced his props, he'd made a prediction, he'd given this to some bloke in the audience, he'd given a calculator to someone else, he's rootling around in his bag for all his pens and his bits of carbon and all that crap. He did, in effect, it was 8 minutes before he got his first round of applause, 8 minutes out of a 12-minute act. And you just think, what are you thinking of? Have you even analyze this in your own head? Just make an impact. There's one mentalist that is a grand exception to all of this, and it's Graham Jolly. If you want to be a mentalist, you've got to go and watch Graham Jolly, because he comes out there and he hits them within the first minute. The old tradition, I don't know if Graham does it anymore, but I'm sure his opener was, "You, sir, count your change in your pocket," and he'd have his pencil out. "How much you got?" 48p. What does it say on there? You will have 48p in your pocket. His first effect's over in less than a minute. Plus he's got that incredible personality that could only be Graham. He's got personality lines that only work for him because he's established his character and that. So rule number one is get on with it. You
And
know, I think get on with it. And
the perfect example on that point is you and I have both watched Steve Deller in a competition, and this is a guy who's made his career as a mentalist,
yeah,
and yet when he enters competitions, he
he
does
does magic.
and he does card magic,
Yes, exactly.
he
Yeah,
does stuff
yeah,
like that because
yeah.
he knows that's what's going to win the bloody thing.
Well, you've got to, yeah. And another thing is as well, there's no point in complaining about this now, whether it's right or wrong. Remember when you were at school and people said, you know, if you were going to take an exam, the piece of advice that every teacher would give you was make sure you have a go at every question. Because if there's 10 questions and there's 10 marks for each question, if you've only answered 4 questions, the maximum mark you will ever be able to score is 40 because you've not even attempted the others. Okay. So there is no point in complaining. So if you get the list of requirements for a competition, you follow every one of them. So if you get 10 points for dressing smartly, don't turn up in your jeans. Because if you decide to be a rebel or whatever and say, well, I don't perform like that, you're only going to be marked out at 90.
So one of my favourite magicians is Scott Alexander. Scott Alexander is brilliant. He is responsible for so many routines in my cabaret show. It is ridiculous. And one feature that I do on a 5x5 is the 3 best tricks that somebody's created. And I want to do that with Scott Alexander because he has created so much magic through the years. And he is such an incredible performer. And one thing I like about Scott Alexander is when you buy a trick off Scott, you aren't just buying a trick, you are buying a routine. You're buying a fully thought out routine with patter and presentation and everything makes sense, which unfortunately isn't seen a lot these days. A lot of the time these days, people just present a trick and you have to come up with your own way of doing it, but that's not the case with Scott. So, first of all, a couple of honourable mentions. So the first honourable mention I want to give you, or 2 honourable mentions, is Scott Alexander's egg bag routine and Scott Alexander's salt pour routine. Now, I learned both of these from his Penguin Christmas specials. And, you know, in the salt pour routine especially, he uses music, and that's one thing that Scott Alexander does an awful lot. He uses music in such a wonderful way to enhance routines. He actually has DVDs and books out on musicality. And in the salt pour routine, it's all done to music. The music is absolutely a wonderful choice for the routine, and he does it in such a great way. The egg bag routine is absolutely brilliant. It really is gold, and both of those routines I do in my act. Another kind of honourable mention I want to give you is his needles routine. Now he's done razors and needles. Razors are a lot more expensive than needles. Both are great. Needles is very affordable, and it's the classic needle swallow, but it's done in a very, very deceptive way, in a very, very easy way. It uses a very clever gimmick. It uses a very clever gimmick glass. Needles, razors is great, as is his Chinese sticks routine. The Chinese sticks routine that he put out, I did an awful lot. I still do. Anyway, the top 3 tricks that Scott Alexander has ever put out. In third place, we have Superfly, which I used in so many different competitions. I've talked about it on this channel. Superfly is absolutely amazing. It's such a baffling cards across. Cards across is a great plot. Anyway, what Scott did to this routine, 1, he made the moment that the cards jump across, he put a feature on that by using the zombie gimmick at the handkerchief, which is just amazing. It's such a great way to do it, and it's something I've done in my career for years. But secondly, the other thing that he did is there's no palming. The method is so clever. He has somebody take 10 cards, put them in an envelope, sign the envelope, has somebody else take 10 cards, have 3 cards picked, shuffled into the pack themselves, put that back in the envelope, 3 cards jump across, the 3 cards that are gone are the 3 selected cards, and they're found in the other envelope. It is amazing. Superfly is a must. And if you don't want to use the type of performance style that Scott does, there are other ways of doing it as well. You should buy it just to learn the methodology behind it. It is simply brilliant. In second place, Message in a Bottle. Now, Message in a Bottle, I remember the first time I performed this. I bought it. It was a big investment for me. It cost a lot of money, and I bought it, and I put it into my cabaret show. And Sarah, who has seen a lot of magic, I remember her watching it for the first time, and she was just blown away. She didn't have a clue. And even now, message in a bottle, Sarah, she's behind the camera. It's one of your favourite tricks, isn't it, that Scott Alexander's done?
Yeah, great trick.
It's such an amazing trick. The whole idea of a bottle with a rolled up message in it, people shout out whatever they want to shout out, and the prediction matches. It's as good as like a master prediction system, but it can be done by a solo performer anytime, anywhere. It is absolutely brilliant. I highly recommend Message in a Bottle. And then the number one best Scott Alexander trick, the trick, in my opinion, that is the best trick he ever put out, and he did this with Puck. I should have said he actually did Message in a Bottle with Puck as well. But I'm talking about number one is Wishes by Scott Alexander and Puck. If you do Miser's Dream, you know how amazing Miser's Dream is. Kids love the production of the coins and so on and so forth. Well, Wishes is, oh my gosh, absolutely amazing. It's the same as Message in a Bottle. It's the same as Miser's Dream, but you're catching bubbles. So you're catching these bubbles. You're blowing bubbles, catching them, throwing them in the bucket. They can hear they can hear the bubbles landing in the bucket. You're producing more and more bubbles, more and more bubbles. It looks absolutely amazing. And then you keep producing them. And then what happens at the end? You've got this beautiful production of bubbles coming out the bucket. And it's as good as Snowstorm. You know, when you've got all the snow going everywhere out of the chair. Well, this is a similar sort of thing. This is as good, but it's completely self-contained. Wishes, if you are a family entertainer, it is the best investment you can make. Best Scott Alexander trick there is. Okay, so I want to do a mini review for you right now. I want to look at Backstab by Zach Miradech, something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I've probably butchered your name. I'm awful with names. I'm very, very sorry. This is something that came out in 2018. And I wanted to highlight this for you. I think this is really good. I started doing this way before I did this review show with Ryland, as it would have probably been reviewed. But this is a really great prop. Now, the idea of this is it's like a close-up card stab. So someone picks a card, you then take out a knife and you stab the card. I'm going to do a performance of it in a bit, but I want to address the thing that most people have an issue with. Most people have an issue with this because of the fact that you have to use this sort of knife. And the problem is, obviously in the UK, and I think in America, knife crime is a big issue. And a lot of people went on places like the Magic Cafe and said, oh, it's irresponsible selling this trick, the fact that you've got to carry one of these around with you. And here's the thing. I agree that you shouldn't be talking about stabbing people. It's why when I reviewed David Regal's colour changing knife set, I changed his presentation because although it worked for David and it was very entertaining the way David did it, it wouldn't work for me, which is why I kind of came up with a completely different presentation about making things disappear and so on and so forth. However, I have no problem doing this in a corporate show or an adult show or even a restaurant where there's like adults there. No, I wouldn't do this in front of kids. But to be clear, you know, in my illusion show that I do for families, I spend half of my time in my illusion show putting blades through girls in boxes and pushing swords in a sword box while there's a girl inside there. So, you know, I think people understand and realise that you know, it's an illusion, it's not real. Now, talking about this, when I present this routine, at no point do I say, right, okay, I've got this knife, stay back, I'm going to stab you. It's nothing like that. The knife is used specifically to find the card in a very impressive way. And I think that that's absolutely fine. I don't think it's an issue doing this routine, especially as it's so strong. So let me very quickly perform the routine for you, and then I'll tell you why it's so good. So I've got Sarah behind the camera, and she's going to help me with this. How are you doing, Sarah? You okay?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So you're going to grab a card. I know your hands are busy, so just say stop.
Stop.
Cool. You happy there?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to assign this card for you. We have to pretend that I don't know what this card is, okay? But I know your hands are busy, so we're going to pretend that I haven't seen this card. I'm just going to put Sarah, and I'm going to put a little smiley face on there because, Sarah, you are always happy. Yes, you are.
You say this a lot. Is it to try and convince me that I am?
Yeah, so you carry on filming me. Say stop.
Stop.
Cool. We're going to put the card back there. We're going to leave it down in the middle. And I'm just going to give the cards a few cuts. We'll cut, we'll cut, we'll cut, we'll cut. Is that fair?
Yeah, okay.
Cool stuff. Right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and... I have no idea where your card is. It could be anywhere. I don't know. But I'm going to memorise the deck and then do something incredible. So I'm just going to memorise the order of the cards in like 5 seconds, okay? Here we go. Okay, I've now memorised the entire deck of cards. You're going to tell me your card, and I am going to tell you where it is. What was your card?
Jack of spades, I think.
Jack of spades. Okay. So that card is 20. No, not 24. It's 14 cards down. Jack of spades is 14 cards down.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and find this in a very impressive way because we're going to do something a little bit dangerous. Please, whatever you do, don't do this at home. Okay? Here we go. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Watch. Done. Now, what I've just done there, first of all, let me just show you something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards.
Right.
14th card right there. Your signed Jack of spades. Okay, so that's backstab. That is the routine. And I think that is so impressive because, if the audience buys into the fact that you're memorizing the deck, the fact that you're stabbing down to their card and you count through the cards one at a time and you say 10, 11, 12, 13. What was your card? It's almost like two moments of magic. First of all, you've got the moment that you stab the correct amount of cards. And secondly, you've got the card revelation. It's an instant reset. It uses a slight gimmick to the deck, but you can add that in very, very easily and you can reset it very, very easily in seconds. The only negative is you can't use a close-up pad. But other than that, it can be done anytime, anywhere. And I'm finding for corporate Zoom shows where there's all adults there, it's really strong. It works really well over Zoom. So there you go. Review, 100%. Really like it. Backstab. Highly recommended. Okay, guys, that's another 5x5, as Ryan would say, in the bag. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And more importantly, let me know what you think about doing a Coin Magic special. I think that would tick a lot of boxes. A lot of people asking me about Coin Magic right now. I think it'd be ticking a lot of boxes doing a Coin Magic special. And I did a Jay Sankey special a little while ago. Is there somebody else you want me to do a special 5x5 on? And if so, who? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's get a dialogue going. And once again, thank you very much for being a part of the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Like the video, leave a comment. All that stuff helps. And I will be back tomorrow with another... tomorrow, I'm going to be back with the Talk Magic. Wednesday with a review show. And I'll be up at 6 o'clock every single day with a Magic Live. I'll see you then. My name's Craig from Magic TV.